Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for the second to last preview before the World Cup. For the second to last preview before we can actually rest our minds, rest our souls, and don't have to worry about Chelsea Football Club for about a month. So that will be exciting times because these days it's a bloody nightmare. But there is a lot to get through because things don't get easier for us, do they? You know, like we could just be playing, I don't know, some League Two team. But of course not. We were drawn against Man City in the third round of the Carabao Cup. So that's what we're taking on tomorrow before we have Newcastle on the weekend. Everything's just super easy at the moment. God knows what team Pep Guardiola is going to turn up with. God knows what team Graham Potter is going to turn up with. Who knows? Who knows? It's going to be interesting for sure. But I still feel like there's a lot to get through before we even talk about the game itself. We will get to that in a minute. I will start with you, Bertram. Thank you for being back on. You know, we have our quiz master back on, so I don't have to do it. So that's always great. But I wanted to get your thoughts because obviously we don't have you on all the time. What is your perspective on what's gone on recently? Like, obviously, results haven't been good, and, you know, fans are starting to lose their minds a little bit. And yes, of course, the online fan base is a little bit different to the real life fan base, but you hear it from everywhere. Like, I've seen people talk about, like, they were in the Matthew Harding, and a lot of people were even there, sitting there, like, saying Potter's out of his steps, like, he can't handle it. And then you see it on Twitter, like, Potter out. Even in my chat, a lot of people are very much, I say very much, a few of them are leaning in that direction already. And I'm like, I'll get to my opinion in a second. I just want to hear your thoughts first, because I understand everyone to some extent. And I'm at the same time also like, well, what are you going to do about it now? So, like, but it's not fun at the moment. Like, it really isn't fun. Like, I mean, obviously, Pice, you and me, we've spoken about it. God knows how many times over the last few weeks, whenever we've played. There was the Villa game. Yeah, we won it. We were bad. There was the Brentford game, which did we win that? I can't even remember. But it wasn't great, was it? The United game wasn't great. And then obviously you get to the Arsenal game. In between that, of course, yeah, Salzburg, sure, but Zagreb, where we don't rest players for absolutely no reason whatsoever. It's difficult. It's difficult. So what's your perspective on the last couple of weeks, I guess, and the performances, the results? Is it all just injury related? Is it the manager not being good enough? What is it in your opinion?
Well, thank you very much for having me on again. Yeah, it's been difficult. I think ever since the Villa game where we were quite poor, but still managed to win. I was hoping it would be a one-off, but since then it's really not gone well, if we're honest with ourselves. Even the Brentford game, straight after we weren't good in, and the United game, we were close to winning. So, but no, it's not been positive. And I think it's been very enlightening because, I don't know, I was, after the Villa game, you know, you can't help yourself. So you're checking the league table. Oh, if we put a string of wins together, play well like we have, you know, we could climb up and maybe even if we're very lucky, challenge Arsenal, but it's just gone downhill since then. But I think we're starting to see and get a real grasp of, you know, what it means to change manager mid-season, and not just change manager. We're, you know, practically changing the whole club here. You know, brought a whole coaching team in from Brighton, and, you know, expected them to change a lot of things. And, you know, they did get points on the board for us to start with, you know, so that maybe set them up for unreasonable expectations. But from my point of view, I'm kind of looking at the season as if it's sold. You know, as you've said in the title, patience is key from now on. I think the most important thing is to give the manager time, because we have seen he is a top quality manager. He has a good team behind him. I think we have a good owner team in as well. So I think things do look as if they're going to be good for us. But, you know, it will take time. And as most people or some of the more reliable people on Twitter have pointed out, we are right now where Arsenal were like 3, 4, maybe even 2 years ago. So I think the most important thing is to show the players and the manager support, even though, and, you know, fairly criticize them when due, like at the weekend. But as Chelsea fans right now, I think it's even though it's tough to accept, we're going to have to bite into the sour apple and see where it takes us.
Fair enough. Pies, let me take it to you. Now, obviously, again, like I said, spoken about things many a times. I don't know, like, obviously, we were talking in a group chat yesterday as well, or was it 2 days ago, whenever it was. I'm annoyed by things at the moment, but I'm not, I am annoyed by, obviously, the results and the performances. But I'm more annoyed by how everyone's reacting to it. Now, I know you disagree or not fully disagree, but you're kind of maybe somewhere in the middle between myself and some other people. What's your opinion on the matter at the moment? Because to me, it's like we're in a situation now where, okay, even if you don't think Graham Potter is good enough, now what benefit do you think it gives us if we sack Graham Potter right now? Now, first of all, which player that we want in the future to make our squad better? We'll look at us as a serious institution anymore if we change manager twice in 2 months. Like, we're not Watford. You know, how are you ever going to get any players if they never take our owner serious anymore? Because if Bowley comes in now, sacks Tuchel in September and sacks Potter now, everyone will be ridiculing us. Like, that will only make it worse. So even if you don't think he's good enough to win us the Premier League, win us the Champions League again, all those things, fair enough. Like, in my opinion, we don't know that yet. We just need to wait and see how good he ends up being because he hasn't had the chance yet at a big club. Said the same thing for Maurizio Sarri. A lot of Chelsea fans were saying, oh, he's never won anything. But that's not the point. We need to just wait and see. But what we do know for a fact is that he's good at making teams better, at signing the right players, and at improving players. So even if you don't think it's good enough to win us things, we still need to wait and let him make us better because I think we can all agree, whether you're Potter out or a fan of Bowley or not, or this or that, we can all agree that we're in the mud. And we can all agree that we need time and we need to take the steps in the right direction. Now, we're partly in the process of doing that. Part of the low right now is because certain things after Bowley came in are being done very quickly, which in the short term will probably hurt us or is hurting us, as you can see right now. But it needed to be done to make the mid and long-term goals happen quicker. Like if you waited for the end of the season and then changed everything, then you just wasted a season, right? So that's the part why I don't understand where people are coming from. Like, even if you don't think he's going to win us the league, all right then, fair enough. Not every manager did. Tuchel didn't win us the league. You know, Sarri didn't win us the league. Lampard didn't win us the league. The last Donny that won us the league is Kante, and all of you think he's shit anyway. So what is it? Like, what do you want? Like, I don't. We need to just be patient now. Like, I know it's hard. I know it's not fun. And I know someone like Pice is like, yeah, but the trophies, finals, it's the minimum demand. I understand that. But when it's not happening, it's not happening. What are you going to do about it? It's not going to make it better if you sack the manager now, is it? Like, it's not going to make it any better. So I don't understand what people are trying to achieve when they go like Potter out. Like, do you want to make us a complete laughing stock? Like, what do you like? That's I don't get it. Pice, what's your perspective on the situation?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there, from the reactions to the change of ownership to the change of managers. I do agree with you, the fact that obviously if we sacked him, which is not going to happen anyway,
No.
it's going to get minimum next season, in my opinion. Clearly they want him here for a long-term project, but at the same time, I just I'm there for the negative reaction as well, because I think, especially the ones that are inside the ground watching it, it's like when you see it like firsthand, it's horrible to watch that game against Arsenal. I'm talking about specifically Arsenal. Man United as well was dog shit, but we nearly escaped with a little penalty win like we did a few times under Tuchel as well. But the Arsenal game was just like, I've honestly never seen Chelsea play like that in so long. I've seen us play bad football, but it was just the lack of effort, the lack of belief, the lack of just total confidence. Which was weird because, if you go back to and you have to say, if you go back to the Zagreb game now, the whole point of that, playing the strong team like he did, was to build confidence ahead of the weekend, which clearly didn't work. That was honestly, I came out of that game literally nearly head on the floor. I felt that bad. It was so embarrassing, so humiliating. It was. I know the scoreline was only 1-0, but it was almost like, remember that game we had on the Conte away at City? It was just no effort, no belief, no want to do anything. And even when we did get near the box, they fucked it up. It was a total fucking shambles. It was horrible, Lawrence. It was absolutely.
We didn't even get in there, but we had one.
It was absolutely shit. It was absolutely shit. It was absolutely dog shit. It was one of the worst games I've been to in years.
Don't get me wrong, but that Conte game
it was very, very, very bad. It was close. It was very bad. It was one of the worst games I've been to. It was horrible, and it was raining. So that made it even worse.
Yeah, London, what do you expect?
That made the mood 10 times worse. But look, from now on, we need to see just differences in a lot of things. I'm writing an article later of what I want to see over the next 2 games, but so I won't spoil it too much now. But I think you know, a lot of this whole Potter out, you have to, again, as I said to you, how much you take it, like you can't really take it too seriously. People are looking for likes and stuff, but I do, you know, I do believe that you know, people are
There's
missing
also people
Tuchel and
saying in my
stuff. So
chat, you can't get likes in the chat. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, I think what's happening is, you know, people just miss the good times under Tuchel, and I think that the thing is, you know, if we win tomorrow, it'll probably be a totally, yeah. If imagine if we won the next two games, like everyone would actually be quite happy going into the World Cup. So Chelsea's, you know what Chelsea's like. It's a crisis one day. It's all right, and you know it might be all right in 2 months when we get back from the World Cup. And we have players back. We might start winning games. We might start seeing a more consistent idea. You know, we might start seeing better performances, and then everything will look up. But right now, people absolutely do have reasons to be miserable because it is absolutely shit. And I was one of the ones. Like, people can't even pin this on me and say, well, you wasn't saying this when we was unbeaten. I was literally on here saying I don't think the unbeaten run was that, like, when you look at the context. I said on one of the streams, I said I don't think it was that good. And people were like, what in the comments, like, what are you talking about? And I was like, no, like, I don't genuinely think we've been that good. So I don't even think we've had a new manager bounce yet. I don't at all. Apart from the AC Milan games and maybe the Wolves game, like, we haven't, like, you know, we had a bigger manager bounce when we first had Lampard, right? So once we got through that first couple of games, you know, we went on like an unbeaten run for a little bit. So which was actually signs of good progressing attacking football. So yeah, look,
But is
I do
that
have sympathy
would
for
you
him.
put that on Potter though? That's
No,
like
I was just coming on to my point. I do have sympathy for him a little bit because he hasn't really had any time to work on the training pitch, and I do think I've said this multiple times. I think the timing of bringing him in, bringing that specific manager in, like start of the season, not having any preseason or any idea of, like, you know, the squad apart from the names and seeing them play against you is just. I thought the timing of it was absolutely stupid, to be honest with you. I said that when we got him. So I do have sympathy in some aspects, but other things he's
and
doing,
the injuries
I can't,
obviously don't help as well. But
absolutely, but I can't excuse, you know, some of the stuff he's doing, like late substitutions, some of the stuff he's saying, getting game plans wrong and making subs in, being forced to make subs in 30 minutes. You know, clearly, like, some players playing not on merit. That is, honestly, that is pissing me off so much. The fact that the likes of Havertz, I'm coming for Sterling now as well because I think I've given him enough time for me. I think he's been absolutely shit. Last game when I was there, Arsenal, he was terrible. Players like Pulisic coming off the bench, Gallagher, these guys, they play well. We don't see them again for 3 or 4 games. It's unacceptable. Play players who want to fucking play for the team. It's
Pat, can
so
I ask
annoying,
you?
bro.
I know you criticized Thomas Tuchel for this as well, but you never went as as aggressive or as harsh as you just did now in your wording there. And Thomas Tuchel did the identical thing. He played Lukaku all the time. He played Werner all the time. He played Havertz all the time. Like, he did the same thing.
Yeah, but
Let's
I
be
don't
honest.
think I don't think I always said that I think Tuchel had more above board influence on some of the certain players, whereas I don't think Potter does now. It's a whole different ownership, so I think the situation's slightly different. And I always said that. Even when I got annoyed with him, and sometimes when I didn't, I was like, yeah. Well, the Lukaku thing for me was from the board. Marina wanted the investment back, you know, clearly. Players like Havertz,
Yeah, for
this this
Lukaku,
this
I'll let you
this
have it,
happened
but
this
that's the
happened
only one.
before this happened before Tuchel as well. It's not just about him. There's always been, under the old ownership, there was always pressure to play certain players and certain signings. I've always believed that, even when they were shit in performance.
No, I agree. Especially on Lukaku, I do kind of. I say I agree with it. I see the
William was a
possibility of
famous
that
one.
being true. I personally disagree on that for Havertz because Havertz costs 20 million more than Werner, and it didn't apply to Werner, so why would it apply to Havertz? That wouldn't make sense to me. Or Kepa. You know, he wasn't forced to play Kepa, who's the bloody most expensive goalkeeper in the fucking world. Do you know what I mean? Or Lampard didn't have to either. Lampard literally dropped him for Caballero and no one batted an eyelid. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not 100% sure if it's for all of them, but on Lukaku, I do agree. Like I said, like, I completely agree. And again, people, if you don't believe me, go back to our player ratings live streams over the last few weeks. Like, I've been very critical of Graham Potter for a lot of things that he's done. Like Pi said, certain things that he said, certain things that he's done, getting the game plan wrong to begin with, making these subs, and then also the way he's like Pies, not maybe to the same extent, but like Pies, I would prefer him to be a bit more energetic and active on the sidelines. But none of that changes the fact that what we got him for, he's still good at. And I think sometimes people kind of I don't know why people think that, okay, you're bringing a manager in to change things for the long term, to change things that are not easy to change. Everyone's aware of that, especially going from pragmatic football to not pragmatic football. And people seem to think this happens from yesterday to tomorrow, or at least they think it happens from 1 month to the other. And it doesn't. Like, it just really, really doesn't. Like, just look at the situation with Maurizio Sarri, right? The reason Lampard got top 4 in his first season was literally on the back of what Sarri did. Now, Lampard fans won't like me saying that, but it's a fact. Like, even into Lampard's second season, the start of that, how great that was, we still had Sarri's fucking midfield patterns. We still did. And that's what we need to bring back. And how many years have Chelsea fans been saying, oh, we need longevity, we need long-term managers? And we do, 1,000,000%. But the problem was we kept hiring managers who aren't that. Like, there's a reason Thomas Tuchel only stayed a couple of years at every club he's been at. There's a reason for that. Even though he's a great manager, I love the man, and I would have loved for it to have worked out for longer. And I'm annoyed at the fact that him and Bowley didn't get on. I don't know who's at fault for that. Did Tuchel do things wrong? Did Bowley do things wrong? Did both of them do things wrong? I don't know, but they didn't get on. And that's annoying because it harmed my football club, our football club. And that's why it's annoying. And that's why we had to do what Pies touched on in terms of change the manager so early. And that made everything just more difficult for everybody. But fact of the matter is, we all knew and needed a long-term, we all knew that we needed a long-term manager, a bit of longevity to finally be able to compete with City and Liverpool. We need to do certain things similar. Like, our system of hiring and firing managers all the time, signing a new bunch of players for a new guy and then sack him, and then sign a new bunch of players for a new guy, and then have this weird mix of a squad that is that suits completely different things. How can you possibly compete with City, who have had Pep for like 6-7 years now? How can you compete with that with Liverpool? I know that Liverpool are struggling this season, but until now, how are you supposed to compete with that when they've had one manager by every summer, every winter, by a couple of new players that fit to what they want to do? How can you compete with that when our managers get like 1 year? Now, you can say, but why did we sack Tuchel then? Okay, but that doesn't matter now. It's happened. Fact of the matter is, we're where we are, and we need to make the best of what we can. And we need to make the best of what we've got. And the best to do right now is most certainly not sack Potter. The best to do right now is most certainly not to just lose your shit at every single occasion. That doesn't mean don't criticize when he does something wrong. It's still possible for him to do things wrong and for the players to do things wrong without you losing your shit over the, like, without going over the top. Like, you need to
Laurenz,
realize
I think that's the problem, though, isn't it? Like you said there, like about Tuchel leaving, like it's gone. It doesn't matter for some fans. A lot of these fans, it really does matter. It really, really hurts.
No, I'm not saying no. But I'm not saying it doesn't matter. Maybe I said that, used that word. If I did, that's not exactly what I meant. What I mean, yeah, but it doesn't matter right now, though. It matters that we sacked him, but it doesn't matter to our situation, is what I'm trying to say. And you can't say it matters to some people because this is not an opinion question. This is a fact question. And whether Tuchel isn't here right now, so that's not the point of the conversation. Like, Tuchel is not coming back. So Tuchel isn't going to fix it. Right now, the only one can fix it is Potter and the team. No one else. That's it. Like, that's why I'm like, yeah, if to you, you're super sad that Tuchel got sacked, of course, that matters to you as an individual. But to the club, right now, it doesn't matter anymore because it's done. Are we going to cry about Jose or Ancelotti? No, it's just that's done. I know the one's 2 months ago, the other's 10 years ago, but still, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but people don't like the fact that that's taken away from them, bro. That's the thing. It's like, saying one day you've got a leg, next day you don't have a leg. We've chopped it off. It's done now. Accept it. Like, people don't like that. People don't like that thrown in their face. They don't like the people that don't like Potter don't like the fact that he's here and Tuchel's not. It's just what it is. That's. Why can't
you look at those things separately? That's what I don't understand. Like,
because he's the guy that's standing in the position that they want someone else to. So I think it's hard.
These people just need to grow the fuck up.
Yeah, like, that's just like, your view on it, though.
Life is not a pony farm, and life is you're not gonna get everything the way you want it in life. Like, so, sorry if I'm the one that has to break it to people. I feel like people should just realize that themselves. But it is what it is, man. Like, be sad about it if you want to be sad. I'm not blaming it. Like, if you love Tuchel so much, and I love him, not as much as some other people, but still, I loved him. But That has nothing to do with Potter. It's not Potter's fault that Tuchel got sacked. Now, if you want to have a go at Bowley, sure, but have a go at Bowley for sacking Tuchel. Not now just pretend that Bowley is the worst guy in the whole world, because that's different. Like, those two are separate things again. That's all I'm trying to say. Like, look at the things you want to criticize and criticize those things individually. Don't broaden certain things that you want to criticize to like everything's bad, because not everything's bad. Like, and yeah, maybe you think everything's bad, but look at where Liverpool were a few years ago. Everything was bad for them, and then found a way through it. Now, if all we're going to do all this time, like Arsenal fans, will lose their shit in Arteta. And I know it's only November, and who knows what Arsenal are going to do. And obviously, we want more than be top by November. Yeah, we want more than that. But that's all we got for the last few years, all the same. So, what Arsenal have as of yet is the best we've got in domestically. And then we had that amazing cup run, but it was a cup run, the Champions League, which was amazing. And we somehow pulled things out of the bag, which we weren't managing to perform on a regular basis. Because whether that's the mentality of the club, whatever it may be, whatever the reason was, whether it was Tuchel's genius or just the players, whatever. Fact of the matter is, it was just 3 good months in essentially 5 bad years since our last league title. Like, if we're totally honest, yeah, okay, we won the Europa League, which is great. But that was our level at the time. We didn't start in the Champions League. We didn't start in the Champions League that season. We won the Europa League. We're the best team in the Europa League. We won the Europa League. But we want to go much higher than winning the Europa League. Do you know what I mean? We want to compete in the Premier League, and we haven't for 5 years. Like, if people think, like, people always say, oh, we're not Arsenal, we're Chelsea, we need to keep our expectations the same. Our expectations dropped a long time ago because you people think we were good enough until now, and we weren't. How far were we off the league title every year? Every year. Like, do you want to get closer? Yes or no? So then use your mind, think about how do we get closer to that? Well, not by sacking the manager now. And again,
we also don't know if it's by sticking with Potter for 3 years. We might just buy a load of players for Potter, and then in 3 years we might think, oh, for fuck's sake, we should have just gone for someone more experienced. That was a waste of 3 years. Like, we should absolutely get behind him and just be patient. Like, we don't know. We don't know yet. Like,
I agree with that. But again, I agree with you. But then that then takes it back to what? Well, Potter is here now. And if we did sack him now, well, that would just make it worse. Now, okay, you can say sack him at the end of the season then if he isn't good enough. But then, like you said, you don't know. So is it worth potentially wasting having wasted a full year for nothing if you then replace him with someone different again?
No,
like, that's not worth it, is it? Because the guy, not to the level of Chelsea, of course, not to the level of Chelsea, but the guy has a proven track record of over time making teams significantly better. That is proven, regardless of what the level is. That is a proven fact. And people say mid-table manager. That's not the relevant part. The relevant part is he turned himself into a mid-table manager by making Brighton a mid-table team. Because when he took over Brighton, they were not a mid-table team. They weren't. They are because of him. They beat us 4-1 because of him, right? So again, I'm not saying he's the be-all and end-all. I don't know for sure if it's going to work out, but we are here now. So we need to just hope it works, because you can apply that very same logic to Jose when we hired him in 2004. No one knew whether that was going to work. We didn't know at the bloody day we appointed Thomas Tuchel in January. We didn't know how long that was going to last. We all, heard the stories about how he, left Dortmund, how he now in the end left PSG. I'm not saying that's how it happened here, but in the end he left in a similar amount of time. So it's not exactly this was surprising. We knew these things were happening. But for some reason, it's only Potter where we question it. It's only Potter where we say because he's not this big name guy.
That's why. Yeah, it's because he's not got the background. I can guarantee you, if someone like this would happen with what's his name? We was linked with that Sporting manager, weren't we, as well? The young Portuguese guy. Same conversation would be happening to him. If we hired someone for a project that was, I'm trying to think of a manager. I don't know, like just someone with European experience, maybe had won a couple of titles. I think the fans would be more like, yeah, I'm willing to wait and see what happens because he's got that background. We know he can win trophies. We know he's at that tactical level. Whereas, yeah, we've seen Graham Potter do good against big teams, but we don't know how far like that development, like how is that going to transfer over? And it's not just about like on the pitch, what we could do in 2 or 3 years. It's obviously about like off the pitch as well, and like how he communicates. Obviously, he's been very good, but you don't know like what will happen when he starts to get stressed out. You don't know what happens when like there's so many different situations, and I think Chelsea is almost like the impossible job. So we do need to cut him some slack, but at the same time, fans will all, especially fans of Chelsea, like this fan base is just different, man. Like they judge game to game so harshly because we've all been
And
brought up
that's
in this
okay, by the
era.
way. I don't mind judging each individual game harshly either. I do. But what I then try to do differently is not take every individual game and portray it into this long-term thing that is now inevitable because we were shit for a couple of games. Just because we were bad for a couple of games, we were bad for a few games now, absolutely. And the few games before that, we were good. But have you been a Chelsea fan since yesterday? This is every season for us. Like, under Tuchel, we lost 4-1 to Brentford, 4-2 to Arsenal. Like, let's not pretend that these kind of things don't happen to us every year, no matter who the manager is. Like, and what you're saying there, because he hasn't won anything, okay. But had he won anything outside of England, they would say, yeah, but he's not proven it in England. And they would. They would, because they did it every time. They did it with Jose. Remember, like that's where the I'm a special one came from. Because I'm not going to say English people, but the English media have this thing of it only counts, and that portrays themselves, because that's how media works, influences people's minds, and that influence that makes the opinion of the people. The English media were questioning Jose Mourinho when he joined, and were like, "Well, do you think you're ready for English football?" And he's like, "Excuse me, I just won the European Cup." That's where the I'm a special one came from, because that's what they do. So you say that now you finally get a manager that actually has Premier League experience, which they cried for the other ones. They cried for at Lampard. Oh, he's only been in the Championship. He doesn't know the Premier League. They cried for that with Sarri. They cried for that with Tuchel. They cried for that with this. They cried for that with that. Now we have a manager that's in the Premier League. How many managers are there that won Premier League titles and are available? Name me some. Now, would you want Jose Mourinho? No, you wouldn't. Like, would you want fucking, I don't know, what's his name? Ranieri? No, you wouldn't. He won a Premier League. But would that stop your worries? No, it wouldn't. But this time you have a manager that actually at least knows the Premier League. Now you will see that the last few years when you said, but he doesn't know the Premier League, it was a completely pointless point to make for certain other managers, because it doesn't fucking matter. It matters about knowing the team and knowing football. And then it's about, can you make that work in the Premier League? Yes or no. But it depends on your team. Like, just because he made it work with Brighton, it's no guarantee he makes it work with Chelsea. But they said for Lampard he would. They said for Sarri, if only he knew the Premier League, then it would be so much better. But now all of a sudden that it's Potter who has Premier League experience, now that doesn't matter. So where is it then? And when Sarri was here, they were like, if at least he won some small cup. Well, Potter won the Swedish Cup. Why does that one now count then? I mean, I don't think it counts, but I didn't have a problem with Sarri. I came second in the Serie A by 1 point to Juve. We all know that has nothing to do with the manager. It's just luck. And bad luck. That was the reason they didn't win that title. Nothing to do with Sarri or even the team. Nothing to do with that. It's just luck. When you lose or win a league title by 1 point, it's just luck, nothing else. Bertram, I feel like I've kept you out of this conversation for far too long. Rather than asking you an individual specific question, why don't you just react to basically what mainly me, but also me and Pies have kind of been going back and forth upon?
I think it's interesting. I think if I could jump into defend Potter quickly, you've both touched upon the fact that, especially you, Laurenz, you've made the arguments for and against him. I think another key argument for him is the fact that we've never actually seen a finished Graham Potter project. He's been poached at every job he's been at. So I think that's something you have to look at. And even though he hasn't, well, obviously he has, withstood, amounts of pressure. He went to Sweden as a Brit, to some obscure city that I don't even know, as a Scandinavian, and took them to glory, won at the Emirates with them. There was pressure when he had to go over there and make his career. He went to Swansea, big city and big club in Wales, and then since to Brighton, where he took a team primarily focused on defending and made them one of the best watched teams in the league, and who's to say if he wasn't there for 2 or 3 years more, where they would have been then. You saw how they played against us. You saw how reliant they were on him and his team. As when he's left them, where they at now. I know they've just got 2 wins, but slow start from them again. So I think that's one thing. And another thing is, we can all discuss, what we want Chelsea to do and what we think is the right and the wrong thing. At the end of the day, we don't have any influence on, especially the new regime. So the only thing we as fans can do is rightfully criticize, give solid points, solid constructive criticism. But other than that, get behind the team, make sure that while we build up, this team, while we build up confidence, that we're there, that we're at the bridge singing, that we go away tomorrow with the, how many is it, 5,500 fans, and just support through. So as fans, I think we should show the fact that we have been spoiled, in the fact that we have had Chelsea, and this quote, this is Chelsea. We've been spoiled with these trophies and these players and managers, and it is unsustainable, and we're finally seeing it. So one day or another, we were going to end up in the situation where we try a manager, where we try and build something up, and where we clear out the deadwood and let someone build the team. So while there isn't that much evidence speaking for that he is the right man, right now, I think he's a great candidate to take us forward. And I can't see why he wouldn't be the man. You could always say, yeah, he doesn't have the pedigree, which you've touched upon, but who has? Who knows the Premier League and who's won things and stuff like that. So as fans, I think
They're won the Scottish League. Well, look how that went. See what I mean?
Exactly. So those are my my thoughts I've been sitting with for 20 minutes.
There you go. I mean, the last thing I want to say, and Bertram kind of touched on it then, like, at least give it enough time to see whether you see something or not, because 2 months with a game every 3 days and basically all of our most important players injured at the same time. I keep repeating this. No matter who the manager is, they would struggle. Thomas Tuchel struggled last year, struggled really badly last year when we had Reece James and Ben Chilwell injured. Well, and N'Golo Kante, of course, because he's always injured. And that he still had Rudiger, Potter doesn't have Fofana, Koulibaly, now he only has one left wing back. Now, Chilwell, with Tuchel had the same when Chile was out, and then it was Alonso, so arguably that's worse. But, at least wait long enough before you to actually be able to make a judgment. Because now what Super Tommy Tuchel says in the chat, big players will disrespect Potter because all of them are Champions League winners and he's a nobody. Okay, no, you don't know that. Like, you just don't know that. You're just saying that because you think that. You think that. That's it. That's just your opinion. This is not fact. You're just saying that. You don't know that. How can you know that? You know what I mean? Like, how can you possibly know that? Like, it's madness to me. Absolute madness. And one last thing I wanted to touch on. Obviously, a lot of people criticize, the way we played. The way we played against us. And I agree it wasn't good. I absolutely agree. It was diabolical. There was no effort there. There just wasn't enough. Now, the effort thing is a little bit... Like, I've seen a few people who, watched the game back. The first half was okay, just not in what we want to see.
Bollocks, Laurenz.
No, but wait though.
So
we
bad.
played a decent defensive game because did Arsenal have chances? No. But because we purposely did that, though. Now, you might not like what we purposely did, but we still purposely did it, regardless of whether you like it or not. But then second half was a whole shit show. But in general, I still agree on the effort, by the way. Like, we won no second balls. How can there be high effort if you win no second balls? If there's effort, you win second balls. It's as simple as that. It's a very simple thing. And that needs to be better. Now, I personally don't think people should always say, but he's always changing the formation. Yeah, but if you actually pay attention, no matter which formation we play, we always try to do the same things. It's just out of different formations, but that doesn't really matter as much. If you always try to do the same thing, even in different formation, that's okay. But there's managers who change formation and then do different things in every formation. Then changing the formation all the time is a serious issue. And I still think Potter should maybe read it in a little bit. But at the same time, we all know that he's doing it because Reece is injured, because he constantly has, Chilwell couldn't play regularly. Now he's injured anyway. Cucurella had tonsillitis. We know that. We had no centre-backs available. Thiago Silva needs to play way more than he really should. And we know the midfield problems as they are. But that's not Potter, is it? So just wait a little bit. I'm not telling you don't criticize. Criticize all you want. But criticize with a little bit of foresight. Criticize with a little bit of foresight. It's okay, this was bad, but next game might be better. Because let's not pretend like we didn't have bad games under every manager. We lost 6-0 to City under Sarri, 4-0 to Brighton. Under Lampard, we got battered by West Brom, by who was it? Bournemouth. We got battered left, right, and centre by Man United. Lampard's first game was a 4-0 defeat to Man United. It was one of the most unlucky and undeserved 4-0 defeats of all time, but still it happened. Thomas Tuchel lost 4-1 to Brentford, 4-2 to Arsenal, and people are out here as if Potter is the first bad manager, like the first manager that gets bad result we've ever had. I'm like, what has led you to this conclusion? Like, did you just forget? And like Pi said it well earlier, where he says people just romanticize really the good times, and they just want to, what's the right word? Is it swell? No, that's not the right word. You know, you just want to sit back and almost enjoy the memories. That's all they're trying to do. They try to they just remember the good times. You don't remember the bad times. And I understand that in bad times, you try to remember the good times to make yourself feel better. But if that then in the end makes you feel worse, now what's the benefit of that? Like, look after yourselves, people. Like, if you guys are so angry and so disappointed and so disconnected from the club, which I've seen a lot of people say, then just work on that yourself. Like, you're only making yourself miserable. Like, yourself, not like, it's not the club that's making you miserable. It's you that's making you miserable because you're only looking at negative things. So help yourself. Reminisce. That's the word. Thank you, Clutch. That's the word I was looking for. There you go. But yeah, I don't know if we should go into any more detail. We've spoken about this now for 37 minutes. I think it's about time we move on. Now, Super Tommy Tuchel asked this question, and I'm not sat here and have the answers for all of your questions prepared. But you ask me, Mr. Laurenz, can you tell us what Potter is doing? 0 attacking patterns. We're a disaster at set pieces. We've conceded 2 goals from corners from United and Arsenal. Okay, so let's look at that then. For some reason you're called Super Tommy Tuchel, but your picture is Potter. Fair enough. But so that confused me. But anyway, so the conceding from set pieces all the time, that was the same under Thomas Tuchel. I'm just saying, like, we were really bad at set pieces also early in the season before we sacked Tuchel. Just saying. And why is that? Because we have the same guy in charge of that, because Anthony Barry didn't leave the club and he's still in charge of set pieces. So that has nothing to do with Potter himself. To say there's 0 attacking patterns, I think is ridiculous. There is already different and better attacking patterns than we had before. Like, until the Arsenal game, we had a better XG in every single game under Potter than we did in the games under Thomas Tuchel, other than against Spurs. Like, that's a fact. Like, you sit here and say we're worse, nothing is there. No, but there is. If you're not seeing it, that's not my fault. Like, so what can I say? But is it a problem that Kai Havertz hit that cross when he had a cutback to Aubameyang all mount on, and he hits across 30 yards in the air and out for a throw-in? That's a problem because I don't know why Havertz did that, but that's a Havertz problem, not a Potter problem. That's not an attacking patterns problem.
That's also Potter's problem for keep picking him, though, bro.
That's absolutely true. And I agree, you know me. You agree that I want Bruyne to play way more. I 100% agree with that.
Pulisic, Gallagher, play anyone
100%.
apart from... Just start playing players based on merit. Fucking anyone that wants to actually perform. Anyone that comes well off the bench. Like, I'll give you an example. Tomorrow, if Pulisic, Gallagher, Bruyne, anyone that plays well that doesn't usually start, if they play well, even if we lose, if they play well, and they don't start against Newcastle, I can't excuse that. You can't keep going back to Sterling, Havertz, even Aubameyang. What's Aubameyang done? I know he's got limited service, but stop playing these guys based off their names. It's pissing me off.
But again, my question is, Tuchel did the same thing and you didn't complain about it anywhere near as much. I don't get that. I don't get that. But yeah, I still agree with you. I 1,000,000% that shouldn't happen. But the fact of the matter is still, that whole attacking play, like, there wasn't many of it against Arsenal, absolutely. But why is that? Because our midfield is number one half injured. Arsenal are really good at the moment. We are really not good at the moment. No matter who you are, if one's in form and one's in confidence and you're out of form and out of confidence, the people in form and in confidence, even if on ability they're potentially worse, they will perform better. So no matter the coach can't, like, no matter how good your patterns are, patterns won't ever outweigh confidence. Just look at Kepa.
Laurenz, can I ask you a question? A serious question. And
please.
If John Terry was in that dressing room on the weekend, do you think we would have played as bad? Because I don't. I feel like Potter needs to do... His job is not just football on the pitch. His job is also a mental job. It's also getting the players up for a game. The players shouldn't even need to get up for the game, but they do, clearly. And I seriously worry about what he said in that dressing room at halftime and before the game. Because we came out like we just... I don't even know how to describe the game. It was the biggest pile of dog shit I've ever watched. It was not... It was like we were playing some fucking League Two team or something. We accepted being outclassed. We accepted being dominated. I can't accept that. That is the manager's fault as well. You can't,
I
and
agree.
that's what
I agree
people.
completely.
That's exactly what people
but
miss as well. Because
say we did the opposite, because think about who did the opposite. Sorry. Now, how did that end? We lost 6-0. And how did that? What opinion did the fans have of that?
What do you
And
mean
I think
the
that's what
opposite?
Potter was scared of. Like we got beat 4-1 by Brighton. Brighton are nowhere near as good as Arsenal. That's why he did that, and I'm sure you're aware of that. Like if you think about it, the reason because why we took such a passive approach to this game is because of what happened a week before. We know, like surely you know that. It's so obvious. And your question for John
We're
Terry,
at
I
home,
100%
man.
agree. The effort and the performance certainly would have been much better. But is that Potter's fault? Because John Terry would be the captain, would be the player.
No, I mean
Potter
in the.
didn't
I
sign
mean,
him.
no, I mean in the dressing room as like an assistant. He needs to get.
John
He
Terry
needs to.
as of today. Sorry,
He
I thought
needs
you
to
meant as a
get
player.
in those. He needs to get into those players. I mean, as an assistant, he needs to. I don't know whether he has. I mean, fucking hell, if he's laid down the law to them and they're still playing like that, holy shit, Potter should just leave because he's got no chance with this club and these players. He should walk because. But I genuinely, I don't believe he's laid down the law to them yet, and I think there's occasions where he should have. No, that's just me
That's
speculating.
interesting,
But
isn't it? Because he was asked about this in one press conference, and he gave a very to me surprise, because like remember a couple of weeks ago you and me were talking like we're not sure whether he's got that in him or not, that like hair dryer treatment and stuff. And then he was also asked about it in one press conference, and he said, like, he basically was asked, is that a thing he does? And he's like, yeah, absolutely, has to be done. And he was usually he's very like, just too explanatory almost without saying anything. Like Potter's best thing in press conferences is saying a lot without saying anything. That's why a lot of people find it boring, but at the same time, it's dealing with the media perfectly, in my opinion, because they can't do anything to him if he waffles. So gives them an answer without saying anything, because what can they do then? Nothing. But that was one answer where he gave a real answer. So I don't know. Again, you make a fair point. If John Terry is there, maybe that doesn't happen. Fair. But again, it's a thing of we think that. We don't know. We don't know for sure. Let's not pretend
you can
we didn't
usually
have
see it, though,
without...
can't you?
Yeah, but think about Napoli 2012, the away game. I know he wasn't an assistant then, but we still had Lampard and Terry and Cech and Ashley Cole and Drogba. We had all of these players. Yet when you look at that away performance, it was a shit show. No effort, no quality, no ability. We were lucky to only lose 3-1.
Yeah, but then look at the next leg.
Scraping it off the line. Yeah. But still, what I'm trying to say with that is those games happen no matter who is there.
And what I'm trying to say is, if against Man City and Newcastle, it is like we don't see a reaction, then there is clearly a problem. Like, and there's been games. I don't even know if I'm waffling. I can't even think what happened yesterday. But I'm trying to think of the games like what happened recently as well. Before that, like, has there been an occasion where we could have reacted to a bad result? Like, I think against Villa we won, but I think that was absolute dog shit. I think we were lucky there. But like Arsenal, for me, the first
Villa came after we won away at Milan, didn't it?
Yeah, no, I'm just talking about like from a game, the game after that, like how we'll react, because like for me, it's all about Wednesday now, and again, it's about individuals as well. I want to see some of those players that just didn't show me anything. I want them to show fight, but this is why I'm so miserable, because I just, even if I see it, like Havertz or something, if I see it from him one game, I know that he's not going to do that for another 3 games. And that's so sad. That's so sad to expect that from a Chelsea player.
The one game where we had maybe a bit of a reaction was the Salzburg game. What was the game before Salzburg, Bertram? Was
United?
That United?
No. I think it was. No. United was definitely the one before Salzburg.
You sure?
I'll take it. And if I can quickly jump in, actually, I do see what you're saying about Potter, and I think it comes across as like the way his demeanor, the way he is. But I swear, the Arsenal performance, I've seen it a million times from us these last few years, especially during like, even when we had ex-legends in the dressing room, your Frank Lampards, your Jody Morrises, even to the likes of your Peter Cechs,
if we had Zola in the dressing room and Sarri was manager.
Exactly. And if we think back to like Lampard's first season, it's like the same game, at home to West Ham, away to West Ham, even like at home to Bournemouth. We've seen these games where you look at the Chelsea team and you can't, you don't know who's the home team here out of Chelsea and some random team from the south coast of England. So I think it's more of a, team thing, like the players we've had from then.
Yeah, I just think none of what we're talking about only has one reason for why it happens. Like everything, like football is one of the most nuanced things that exist. Like there's so many reasons for every small little thing. Like not all of it is Potter's fault, but some of it is. Not all of it is Bowley's fault, but some of it is. Like I said earlier, I think certain things that are Bowley's fault, they had to happen. Like in terms of, certain people at the club, they just had to go. Whether we immediately replaced them perfectly or not, yeah, maybe not. And in an ideal world, we would have done. In an ideal world, we had a director of football before the summer. But the sale was completed in, what was it, June? Like, there was no time. And there's no one's fault. And then we just had, like, it's, in his opinion, and I probably share that opinion, it was better to just, just pull the plaster off quick. Is that the right word? Just rip it off rather than slowly, because yeah, it hurts more now, but you need to do it. Like certain things you just need to do, and then certain things are the players. We touch on it so many times. Like how many of these players underperform? How many of these players are way too hot and cold? Like sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, and that's a problem, and that's a problem that can only be fixed slowly. Like, no matter who the manager is, the problem with the squad, they can't change in one window. They can't even change in two windows. And the problem is, unfortunately, Thomas Tuchel felt like he didn't even try to change that problem because he barely got rid of anyone. And the ones he did get, like, he got rid of, like, the Barclays and Sars. But even those only got rid of now that Bowley walked through the door. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you think about pre-season, we took fucking Barkley and whoever else instead of Gilmore and Broya, and like I know Gilmore end left anyway, but you're like, well, you even trying to fix the Deadwood problem or not? Like, what is it? And like not wanting another midfielder for 2 years straight, not like those are problems that need to be addressed, but they can't be addressed from one day to another. And all of those things, that we don't have a good enough midfield, that we miss a certain type of player, that our forwards none of them are clinical enough. All of those problems are part of the problem, essentially, is all what I'm trying to say. But now we've sat here for 50 minutes and we've not talked about anything. That's to do with tomorrow's game. So let's do that quickly, shall we? So Jorginho is a doubt. People made a big deal out of it. I'm not sure why. He shouldn't have played anyway. And otherwise, it's the same as always. Just Reece James, at least reportedly, not according to Graham Potter, was told he could be back fit in about 3 weeks. Obviously, the World Cup is just under 2 weeks away. England's first game is basically 2 weeks away. I think you play Monday, the first game, don't you? So 2 weeks away. So how long do the group stages take? About 1.5, 2 weeks, all in all. So Reece James could theoretically be back before the end of the group stages, so by the end of the group stages. So could most certainly be involved in knockout ties. As a Chelsea fan, I do not want that. For him as a guy, I want that. So let's just see how it goes. On Kepa, interestingly, there was no time frame given. He was asked, like, obviously we found out that in the last press conference that he was going to play before the World Cup. Seems like it's not guaranteed that he's going to be fit for the World Cup. No one knows whether he's going to be called up for Spain anyway. But yeah, he said the injury isn't looking good at the moment. Yeah, he did finally, I'm sure, Pies, you were happy to see it, because for once a journalist asked a useful question, because they actually asked a bit more of a detailed answer about Mateo Kovacic. And basically, they were talking about, he's had a bit of a knee issue. He didn't explain what kind of knee issue, but he's had a knee issue ever since preseason. We knew that, really, because, he didn't play in preseason. So we knew that. But yeah, so basically he's played with that. It's not stopped him fully, but you need to be a bit careful with how much you use him and everything. So yeah, other than that, I've got a question for both of you guys before we do the quiz. Do you expect City to rotate heavily tomorrow? I'll start with you, Bertram.
To be honest, I don't think so. I think they have one more game left before the World Cup at the weekend. So I think he'd want to see something from them. I think there will be a level of rotation, but I feel like he made a fair amount of rotation in their Champions League game against Sevilla. Bringing the 17-year-old fullback in. But I think also with City, they have almost two teams that would be able to compete for the Premier League title. So I would hope to see it, but I think it's always difficult with City. I think he'll put a strong team out, with maybe exception of a handful of youngsters, one or two at the max. But I think he tried to take this seriously. Pep Guardiola usually takes the League Cup seriously. Even lost to them at one point. So I think he'll try and take it seriously. I think it's only. I was looking at it. It's like I think it's four games, 5 games to get to the final. So I expect a strong team from City tomorrow.
One thing that should be mentioned, by the way, which was brought up in a press conference, is that if we do progress to the 4th round of the Carabao Cup, tomorrow is the 3rd round, that 4th round of the Carabao Cup takes place 3 days after the World Cup final. So if we've got any players involved in that World Cup final, even if we've got any players in the semi-finals, those guys will not be involved in that 4th round game. So, that's not fun. Pies, what about you? Do you expect them to rotate? But obviously, Pedro made a good point. Even if they do rotate, unless they, go as crazy and play like what was he called, Lewis Rook or whatever the guy was called that scored against Sevilla. But in general, their B team is still probably better than our A team, if we're honest.
Yeah, this is very, very good. Can't predict the exact lineup, but we know Mahrez will start. Obviously, he's not been starting this season, so he'll play. Probably Foden. They've got Alvarez. I think Pep said that Haaland is not still like 100%, like he's not fully at the level yet. So hopefully we avoid him and he doesn't start. But obviously, I'm gathering he'll probably come off the bench if we're winning or drawing, which would be great. But yeah, we just need to. For me, we need to go there, and we need to. I think the best way you play City, especially if it's going to be a rotated team, is to actually attack them. I think it makes it so much worse when you sit back against them because they. Like, I know the Champions League final we defended amazing, but for me, like, that's a very, very rare occasion. Historically, teams that have beat City, even in the Premier League, like the Wolves and stuff, when they beat them 4-2, they actually just attacked them. So, yeah, I think we need to be positive on the front foot tomorrow, and it'll be difficult, of course, but I don't know, man. Like, I think depending on the team we play, which I think will be very strong actually, because I think he's going to want a reaction after Arsenal, and I think he's going to.
Please,
Yeah,
bro,
no.
play for the love of God.
No, I honestly, I don't think he will that much. Just because it's Man City, and I feel like they will, and even because their rotated team is so good, I think we'll probably play a really strong team. So yeah, I think we might have a chance, but playing like we have recently, fucking hell, things could go horribly. But I don't know. I'm just weirdly positive about this game. It just falls
Really?
at
Bertrand was as well when he joined.
yeah,
us.
like it's just. For me, it falls in a weirdly, like, it's just a weird time. Like it might be a day where we catch City out, is what I'm trying to say. Like they might not be fully on it, you know what I mean? Especially because they're now behind in the league. I'm hoping that'll be the
Maybe
case.
taking us a little bit lightly as well.
Yeah,
because we
like
in bad form.
yeah, I mean, it could just be absolute waffle, but I don't know if even before the Arsenal game, I was quite looking forward to the City game. I don't know why.
That is weird. I don't know why you are looking forward to it, if I'm honest. Sorry, Basham, gone.
No, we don't. It's because we don't expect something for once. It was kind of a free hit.
Yeah, but I didn't expect anything against Arsenal, and I was still not looking forward to it.
No, but losing to Arsenal would have been bad, in a sense, and it was.
Yeah, it was bad. But I guess it just doesn't matter as much if we lose because we're like, well, it's the Carabao Cup. Now, I know obviously Pice always makes the good point it's the easiest way to trophy, and it absolutely is. But it also has its benefits where you're like, okay, then you don't have to play 3 days after the World Cup final. Like, that is a benefit. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially with our squad issues, because some players will be back after the World Cup straight away, but some won't. So, we will still have a very...
It's a weird one, that, though, isn't it? Because, like, first of all, we don't know who we're playing. Like, if we beat City, I mean, we might get drawn against someone considerably less good, and the fact that it actually might even help us to play someone that's of a similar level in the league because they might have players like us that will be sort of maybe in the World Cup final or semis. So it may just be then 2 rotated sides. So and then who knows? But yeah, I think that's a disadvantage to kind of everyone involved really, unless we draw like. Trying to think of a team like a Wolves or something.
Likely to draw lesser sides, right? Who will have less teams that players at the World Cup, let alone the latter stages of the World Cup, right?
Yeah, no, we are, but I didn't expect us to get City this early on, so we may just get another tough draw.
That means if we were to beat City, City will be out, meaning one less big team to be drawn against.
Yeah, but I mean, like we might get like a
League One side, bigger.
Yeah, but we might get like I don't know, a Liverpool or something.
Please no. That would be terrible. But you know what I mean. But yeah, we will get into certain other things in a minute. Let's get the quiz done because I know, Bertram, you can't stay forever anyways. So let's get the quiz done. I think let's have a little bit of a good time. Ladies and gentlemen, get involved in the quiz. Today we have a proper quiz master again, which is always fun. Not sure if you saw last time, but yeah, you know, we were at least partly mugged off by good old Alex, who's not even a real Chelsea fan. But you did help him though, because you used to be a Chelsea fan. You going older questions, that was when he was a Chelsea fan then. So that made it a little bit simpler in that sense.
You can't see it now. Oh yeah, there it is. There it is.
Bringing it up just now.
Yes.
There you go.
You can just tell me
Can
if it's
you
on.
click
It's on.
slide?
Yes. Should we?
Fantastic.
Let's get started then.
Good old bloody Raheem Sterling. We'll get to him later.
We'll start
I
off.
can't read
Gallagher and Kante run a lot when not injured. In other words, Chelsea love a run. But against which club did we start our cup run against last season in the Carabao Cup? So out of Southampton, Aston Villa,
I know.
Burnley, or Brentford?
I know. Pice, do you know?
It's between two, I think, because I actually.
I think we played 3 of these 4 teams in the
We
Carabao
did.
Cup
We
last
we
season.
beat 2 of them on penalties.
Yeah, exactly.
Southampton and Villa. It's between
you
Southampton
said-
and Brentford, I think.
Yeah. I think Southampton was first. But I could be wrong. It could be Villa. I know it's between those 2, but I'm
You
pretty
locking
sure
it
it was
in?
Southampton. Which one are you going to go
Okay,
for,
we
Pice?
have a Saint shout. Pice.
I'm gonna go for Brentford.
Okay.
Might
I
be
can
wrong.
enlighten you and say it was Villa.
I was Villa.
Our
fuck's
first
sake.
one.
Okay.
Where-
No,
well,
Brentford was
they
the
were-
one. Remember, Pice, just before Christmas, I think December 22nd or something. Lewis Hall played. That was his
Yeah, and
debut.
soon Sub Bell.
Sorry?
And that's soon Sub Bell and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
others.
It was around the Wolves game as well, where we had no players and were mugged
Yeah.
right off. But perfect start.
Exactly.
We move
Okay,
on.
well, not Southampton. Fair enough.
We played them after. Okay. Quizmaster Bertram opened his Twitter account in 2017, but which Chelsea player opened their Blues account against Barnsley in the 3rd round? And I did not give you the
Meaning
year away
scored
because
their
then you would
first
have known.
goal for Chelsea.
Their first one of these players scored their first goal for Chelsea against Barnsley in the 3rd round of the cup.
Batshuayi, surely.
But you're not telling us the year.
Not telling you the year because you would have figured it out from it. So it's between Havertz, Werner, Fabregas, and Batshuayi.
Oh.
So when did we
not
play
telling us
Barnsley?
the
We played Barnsley twice. Once we battered them like 6-0 at the bridge, and then the second time round was when one of Tuchel's first games.
Wait, no, isn't it Havertz, I think? Because he scored a hat-trick, didn't he? And I think that was his first goals.
Yes, it was absolutely. I don't think he scored before. I scored a hat trick that game. Yeah, I agree. I think it's Havertz.
Yeah.
Well, like Havertz, you both opened your point account. It was correct. 6-0.
Yeah.
He scored 3 goals starting it off. Perfect. Okay, solid start from you both.
I want a nice kit. Look, what a good time when we had nice shirts.
And
to
then
be fair,
Barnsley was
this
later.
token isn't bad. Go on.
Last we played City in the League Cup was the heartbreaking final in 2019. We took them to pens where 2 Chelsea players missed. Now, good luck with this one. It's either between Jorginho, David Luiz, Azpilicueta, Emerson, and Kovacic. For me, this was the most painful League Cup final we've lost, even worse than
I
the
think I
Liverpool
know.
one last year.
I think I know. I've got my 2 answers. Can I say? Both?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go for it.
David Luiz and Jorginho.
I was going to go for the same. I'm pretty sure David Luiz hit the post.
He did.
Yeah,
Jorginho was saved, I'm pretty sure.
yeah.
'Cause he did that
think so.
stupid
I know
Haaland skip.
Jorginho missed one penalty shootout pen against City. I think it must have been that one, but it could also have been another one. Maybe it was Aspie, but I think Jorginho, David Luiz. Yeah, I'll agree.
You sound confident, and I can tell you are completely correct. This was, I think, the first time he missed one of his pens. Yeah, Jorginho and David Luiz.
Fair play.
There were some
Fair
good
play.
pens in that shootout, to be honest.
We're so shit at penalties, by the way.
Well, at least we were good in Munich when it mattered most. So.
Moving on to Chelsea have a habit of making it unscathed through the 3rd round. But when was the last time we were knocked out in the 3rd round? This is a difficult one. I wish you luck. It's between United in 19, Leicester in 14, Newcastle in 2010, or Stoke in 2015.
I thought it
Complete
was
guess.
Spurs and a Lampard, but apparently that was the fourth round then.
Was the fourth?
Because we
It's
lost
not the
to
only fourth
Spurs.
round.
Was the
Not the
fourth
only
round.
fourth round exit we have on this one. It was the game
Okay.
after the
Oh,
Barnsley
fuck
one
it.
before.
You've not even given us like if it was home or away. You are harsh, bro.
United was home and Newcastle was home as well. I think Stoke
You
was
know
away.
what? I'm gonna go. Now we always get United in the FA Cup. But I feel like we might have played them in the Carabao. No, it's a trick. It's a trick. It's not United. It's not
But
United.
Bertram, are all of these answers, did we play all of these teams in those years in the third round, or did you just, the wrong answer just random?
See, I made this one quite difficult. They are all in the Carabao Cup,
But not third round,
all in the
okay,
third round. No.
Because I
What?
think that Man
That's so
United
hard.
2019 one was when Batshuayi scored the solo goal and Maguire kicked Batshuayi in the testicles. I think that was that game, and that was in springtime. I'm pretty sure.
Well,
So
Maguire kicked him in the Premier League round, which was
that was in the Premier
during
League. But the
spring.
Batshuayi goal, it was still the right
Yes.
game, surely. Yeah.
This is correct.
Okay, then it wasn't in spring though, was it? But I don't think it was third round. I can't believe that. When did we first? I don't even remember playing Newcastle in 2010.
Whatever.
This is the most difficult question you've ever received, so I'll be that much more impressed if you get it.
Wait.
2015,
Didn't we lose
2015
on?
was that season.
Didn't we lose on penalties to Stoke once?
2015? Because if it's third round 2015, that makes it the 15-16 season, meaning the season where Jose got sacked because we were nearly in the relegation zone. So did we lose the Carabao Cup to Stoke that year? I'll say Stoke 2015,
Yeah,
but I'm honestly not sure.
I'm saying Stoke because I feel like we always beat Leicester. So yeah, it's probably
Okay, locking them in. It was Newcastle. You were correct.
Like,
You see there.
like what? When the
Yeah.
hell did this game even happen? What even was this?
And the thing is, the Stoke one,
2010.
the difficult part was the Stoke one was the fourth round, but we played. I think we won like 5-1 against Scunthorpe the game before, which was how I.
And what was the result of this Newcastle game?
It says here at
We
the bottom,
lost
4-3 we
3-4.
lost.
4-3. What?
I'm baffled that I can't
Absolute
remember this game.
classic.
This was probably in the times where you couldn't see League Cup games in Austria.
Yeah, I genuinely don't remember this game at all. Isn't that Sol Campbell?
It looks
I
like
think
it.
this. I couldn't find a photo from the game, believe it or not. But
So it's a
you
different game.
answered. There was an adequate amount of logic. So we move. Like a bad lemon, last season we were extremely bitter after our loss against Liverpool in the final, where we felt cheated. The question is, how many goals did we score?
Which one?
After
Carabao Cup.
the League Cup final, yeah.
Yeah.
So how many goals did we score to have ruled out for offside? Is it 1, 2, 3, or 4?
2, wasn't it? Was it 2?
Lukaku's one, and what was the other?
Havertz score, I think. Was it Havertz who scored? Yeah, it was. He scored. Yeah, Havertz scored, and it was disallowed. Sure, he did. Yeah, I think it's 2.
I will say 1. I can only remember Lukaku's, but I could be wrong.
I'm sure Havertz.
Well,
won this.
chaps, in the final there was 4, 1 for Liverpool and 3 for us. This was the Lukaku one. Havertz had 2, which were
2?
blatantly offside.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, he had 2, but he was blatantly
Same thing.
offside.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I still
By the
think
way,
he's
I thought you
onside,
meant.
yeah. No matter how often I look at this, still convinced that Romelu Lukaku is clearly onside.
By the way,
That
I
would've
thought you
probably
meant
saved his
just for
career as
Chelsea,
well.
bro.
It was just
I
for
f-
Chelsea. It was 3 goals.
That's
There
why the
were 4 in
answer
the
is
final
3.
in general.
Oh,
The
Oh, I
answer
thought
is
you
3.
said
There
4.
was
What?
No, he
Havertz
said
had
4
2.
in total, but 1 was for Liverpool,
Oh,
but
right.
that wasn't the question type.
Yeah, but this made 0 sense. It would have saved the career as well. I'm sure of it.
Get that
last-
off my screen, please.
Yeah,
I hate that
obviously.
game.
Last we move, the Chelsea way. Now,
I love
this one is quite difficult, but as you can see on the right, we have the Wikipedia page, and I've also written a little text for you that includes some hints. So, the former City and Chelsea player.
Maybe they're difficult, but I'm a huge fan of these, so please keep doing those. All right, but do you want to
All
read
right.
the hint, or shall we read them ourselves?
This former City and Chelsea player, whose name has something to do with Chelsea, should undoubtedly watch tomorrow, as Chelsea hope to cheat their way past arguably the best team in England. Now, there are some hints scattered in there, because it is quite difficult, but we have a Chelsea and City, and I think it would be fair to say, maybe not legend, but definitely cult hero for Chelsea, even though it was some time ago.
Bro, so you do
Now,
these
any
so long
opening
ago,
thoughts?
but
Yeah, but I
so long
understand
ago, bro.
when you get the player, I think it makes sense. The hint what it was
No,
there.
it will, but like when you look at that, it's just like 2003 to 2009, 87 games. I mean, there's not exactly a
But
lot
the
of
thing-
games for that period. He can't be anyone that special.
And that surprised me as well. But it was during our heyday, and you will definitely know who it is. You spoke about him in the last preview as well, which is the golden goal scorer is also more recent, so you should have more of a chance there.
Bro,
I think I know who it is, or at least I have a
former
guess in mind. I
City
could be
and
wrong.
Chelsea player.
I won't throw my shout out there just to
Where
give you a
did
second to think
Bruyne?
still, guys, but I
Sunderland.
have something in mind.
This motherfucker
I
doesn't
think-
stay at teams. Who's this?
You won't remember him for more than I think it's most important to focus on the time he spent at City and at Chelsea.
At City and at Chelsea.
Yeah, I think that's
Oh.
definitely where you'd know him from.
Oh, I think I know.
Pies, you
I mean,
want to
I'll
throw it out?
I'll show my guess first. You can go after. I'll say Sean Wright Phillips.
Oh,
It's a good
Did you not
shout.
play for City as well? And I
Also,
feel
I
like the
think he
time
did.
frame 2003
He
to
did.
2009 seems about right.
Pies, you sound like you've chosen something else.
I mean, this could be wrong, probably is, but my only thought was maybe Wayne Bridge.
Solid shout. Let's
Could
see.
be. Now that you say it,
A large amount of
if you
criticism,
if
but
you
in
told
the
me
end-
that before, I might have changed my mind. But go on.
Pies, you are completely correct. It was Wayne.
No way!
Stamford
What the
Bridge.
hell?
Well done,
was
well
correct.
That
done,
just
well
suddenly
done.
got to my mind. What
I
the
need
hell?
to check now if
Impressive.
Sean Wright Phillips even ever played for Man City.
That is a
I
banging
think he did.
shout. Let's go.
Well,
Whoa.
okay. Finally, the golden goal scorer from a third round game in 2018, actually.
He did. He played for City twice. So you'll let me off. You'll let me off.
Oh, this one's easy, bro. We know this.
You both know this one as well.
Yeah.
Lawrence, you're in
yeah.
it?
Yeah, I know that.
You're both
But
in
what I
it.
didn't realize, honestly, that game was in the third round. That I forgot. But yes,
Oh,
I do
big
know the
significant.
answer.
Well,
Do you wanna
no
go first,
reason
Pat?
to bang
Yeah.
around the bush then.
It is
Price?
Mr. Palmieri.
It is Mr. Palmieri Emerson.
You are indeed correct.
There you go. There you go.
A more
Good
recent
sign.
one, and it was snapped up quickly. An interesting thing about this game as well. There was a guy that when we scored this goal, he ran on the pitch and he has like
Yeah, I
a
remember
profile
that.
picture
Funny.
where he stands with all. Oh, it's amazing. You can even see him behind as well.
Yeah.
Well-
yeah. And yes, Fantasy PJ Tour, that was the worldy Hazard goal tie. Yes. That was
Thank
that
you
game.
both very much for playing, boys.
Well, thank you for creating another fun quiz. I mean, fair play. You got that way.
I'm very proud of my Wayne Bridge shout.
Yeah, no,
You
you
should
should
be
be.
as
But
well.
you know what I thought? I was thinking like I was just trying to think of defenders, and then I thought because I looked at he scored one goal for Chelsea, and when he said we talked about him last time, I remember like in the last
Yeah.
preview, that's when it came to my mind because I remember we were
Yeah.
talking about him. So
It's true. It's
yeah.
true. I should have thought of that, but I didn't. There you go. It's what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, especially because Bertram needs to leave in about 10 minutes' time, why don't we get into talking about this lineup for tomorrow? Now, as we'll see in half a second on screen, I haven't even put a lineup on screen. The auto thing on this website is 4-5-1, which we obviously don't play. But we will get to that. Now, a couple of other things that I want to touch on. That's because I saw someone in the chat at the very beginning of this stream talk about this in terms of Raheem Sterling. Because Graham Potter was asked about Raheem Sterling in a press conference today, and someone in the chat, and I've seen a few people on Twitter as well, are pretty unhappy about how almost defensive he is. And I'm a little bit like, on the one hand, I agree with you guys when you criticize that, when you question that, I understand. On the other hand, I'm like, well, didn't people criticize Tuchel for throwing players under the bus? So he's just doing the opposite, right? And all Potter really said in response is don't focus on the individuals. Once the team works as a whole, the individuals will work as well. So basically he's saying once the system works, even the bad players will be good. But while the system doesn't work, basically you need moments of brilliance. And without him saying that, basically Raheem Sterling isn't providing that. But it was also, the question was also asked on the back of Raheem Sterling giving an interview and saying himself that he's not hitting the heights he wants to hit and needs to hit. So it's like if the player is already criticizing himself, what benefit do you get from the manager in the press conference, like jumping on top of that as well? Like, don't know about you, Pies. I know you said you want him to sometimes dig the players out when it's necessary. I agree, but
not even that. Just don't play them. Like, just make it known in your
that I agree.
selections. You know, like just. I don't think it does any help to say like, you know, I don't know. I don't think it does any help any manager coming out and saying like, you know, criticizing them in the media and stuff. But like, remember when Tuchel said about like we have the same players, this is why the same problems. Like when he said that, I was like, oh fucking hell, that's such a stupid thing to say because that's just gonna like go crazy in the dressing room now. But like, so in terms of like what Potter says, like I quite like it in terms of the fact that he doesn't dig them out specifically, but he needs to make it known that like show me that you actually secretly do agree with us. Like you can't surely be saying these performances are
But
fucking
that
good
is what
enough.
he's saying, though, isn't it? Because he's saying once the team works, that won't be a problem anymore. So
True, but that's just a cop out though. Like Sterling should be doing so much better. Like he came here to be the man. Like he can't even take on a player for fuck's sake. Like you know what I mean? Like it's like you can't just,
at this
say,
point,
oh,
I'm
the
surprised
team
he
doesn't
manages to put
function.
on his own underpants in the morning. Like
bro,
you know what I mean?
at the weekend, like, come on, like, seriously, like, you can't just put that down because the team's not functioning. Like, function yourself first. Like, fucking hell.
Well, maybe
So
the way
annoying.
to get the team to be in form is, to play the players. I do see the argument, but to play devil's advocate, like against Zagreb, if we want the team to play better, they should get to know each other throughout the systems, and it doesn't help always switching
But
around.
hasn't he kind
players
of
and
tried
stuff.
that though? Like we've kind of tried to play them through form, especially like Sterling,
I think,
especially
yeah,
Havertz. Like
I think this is a
We
fair
have with
point
the-
from Bertram, except that everyone keeps complaining about the schedule. So then when you get the one chance where you can rotate without it mattering at all, fucking do it. That's my opinion. It's very simple.
That was the weird
mate,
part
you
of
had a
it,
game
but
for
it
nothing.
makes sense.
Play all of the youngsters you can. That's my, like even
that's
Mourinho did
tomorrow.
that. Mourinho in a last Champions League group game that didn't matter. That's how he gave Loftus-Cheek his debut in like 2015 or whatever year it was. Like if Jose rotates, surely I can expect fucking Graham Potter to rotate. Come on now, Jose. But let's get to this. It's almost weird because for a minute Bertram was hosting with the quiz, and now I'm back to hosting. We have the lineup up on screen. Bertram, before you need to leave, what would be the formation you would like to see us use tomorrow?
Cole, the way I see this game, and I would have made throughout the lineup is I want us to basically play the best players we have, like against
Really?
like against our. I think I would, but that's mainly because it isn't really our problem, anymore after the weekend. These players are fatigued, so I would
who
almost
is
use
our
this
best players,
as
Bertram? That's the question.
exactly. I think, but I'd want the formation to
But surely
show
you
the
can't
best
want
team
us
we
to play
have.
Thiago Silva, right?
No, I don't think. I think Thiago Silva would be my exception through it. And I think I think there's a difference between what I think is the best team. For example, I would rest a Sterling because I don't think right now he's our best team. But I want Potter to use this game as like a training session, in a sense. A way to try and get your players informed for the game. Like the game on
Trying to play players in
Saturday.
the form against City. Good luck with that, mate.
No, because like we did in the Carabao Cup game the FA Cup game against Liverpool when we had Lampard, we kind of played the best team we had. We tried playing Gilmore because Jorginho was suspended for the Premier League, but too much waffle. I think I would like to see us play in a. I think I'd like to see us play in a 3, if I'm honest. If we have the center backs for it.
Do we have a 3 if you rest Thiago Silva?
Exactly. If we don't have the center backs for it, I won't. But if we do,
unless you want to play Cucurella left centre back, which means you need to play either Sterling or Pulisic left wing back, then you need to play a back 4 basically.
You do make a
If
point.
you're
We
resting
don't
Thiago
really
Silva.
have a right wing back as well. I think whatever Potter thinks is the best formation to play on Saturday, I would support. But you do make a good point. I think we should start out in a 4, maybe then. Having the likes of Aspie, if you can take it in there, and starting with pretty much the best team. I would love to see. Your Zakaria's, and as Pice touched on earlier, the Gallagher's, the Pulisics as well. Maybe even if we're lucky, a Hutchinson from the bench. But that's definitely the formation that I'd play, afford the back, because it seems like that's the way he's going right now with the lack of wingbacks we have. So that'd be my starting formation.
Okay, but would you pick a 4-3-3 or would you pick another 4-back formation?
I think I would. Yeah, I think I would try a 4-3-3. Maybe mainly to get the best out of your players like Pulisic. And I really hope to see someone like Abroja up front, for example, and
My
mount
only
if we're
because
lucky.
I would pick a 4-3-3, but my only problem is if Jorginho is the doubt and I expect him not to play, who plays the single six then? I guess maybe we just need to play a 4-2-3-1 just for that reason.
Yes.
And also to make Pies happy because Pies loves a 4-2-3-1.
I do love a 4-2-3-1. Maybe not with its current players, but I do love a 4-2-3-1.
You're just a Jose match and you just don't know it yet.
I just love my pivots, bro. Like,
Jose
I love
loved
two
the
midfielders.
4-2-3-1, man. He loved it.
I love my pivots.
Would you be happy with that, Pies?
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. Just purely on, okay, no Jorginho, I want to rest Thiago Silva. On that basis, I'm like, well, then this is the only option anyway. So that's why. You could obviously play 4-2-2-2, I guess, with two strikers if you really wanted to. But we're playing Man City, all right? So, let's not go overboard. Let's not, be silly now. Okay, I mean, goal is not a question to be answered because Kepa isn't fit. So Mendy is a goal. I doubt any of you are going to say play Bettinelli, right? So Mendy, Pies?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fair dues. Bertram, the last thing I'm going to ask you, midfield and front line, myself, and unless you can rattle just the whole team off, you can then. But if that's just like computes too much brain power now, just go with the defense. Who would you play in defense?
I think I'd stay true to it, and I think I'd go with an Aspie at right back, a Cucurella at left back, and who's even fit as our centre backs? I think. If we want to rest Thiago Silva, is Koulibaly back? He didn't mention.
Well, he was on the bench against United, and he played 60 minutes against Zagreb, didn't he? So.
Yeah, and he didn't mention it. I think I would give it to Koulibaly as well. We need someone to handle it. Even if they don't play Haaland, they have Julian Alvarez, a great striker. So I think I'd go Koulibaly, and isn't Chalobah fit? I would go Chalobah if it is. I would go Chalobah if it is then. I think that would be my defense for tomorrow, and then I hope to see your usual players or your unusual players, unfortunately, throughout the midfield and attack.
Fair dues.
On that, I think it's been a pleasure, boys. And to the chat as well.
The pleasure is all ours, mate. The pleasure is all ours. Have fun playing football. Please see something and don't run into like a pole or something.
I will. Happy previewing. Happy previewing, not the Chelsea.
Cheers, mate. Take care, man.
Yeah, bro.
Right, mate. Pice, would you agree with this back four? Or would you rotate more than that?
No, I think he's got it spot on, to be honest. And I think it's not very hard because who else are you going to play? That's the predicament we're in, especially the centre-backs. I mean, we've got no other left
what
back.
We should mention to everyone watching is there's 3 academy players that will be in the squad for this game. And because I always forget one of the names, that's why I'm just getting up my phone here. Omari Hutchinson, obviously the guy we got from Arsenal in the summer, who also was on the bench against Arsenal already. And also Lewis Hall, who of course we've seen play for the first team twice already under Thomas Tuchel. He's basically Ben Chilwell's backup, so he's kind of the backup left back, left wing back, left centre back, even though he's actually midfielder, but he can also play in those positions. And apparently, according to Nazar Kinsella, even though Graham Potter didn't confirm that, Bashir Humphreys, who, if any of you watched that mental health video that Chelsea uploaded on World Mental Health Day, he was like the youth team captain, the guy with the dreads. That's him. Humphreys, yeah. So he will be involved as well. If I'm perfectly honest with you guys, I have no idea what his position is. So
centre back.
Is he? Okay. Easy. Yeah, he looked short in that.
Obviously,
it was a sitting down video, so maybe he's taller than he looked, but he didn't look like a centre back. But fair enough. But yeah, because the problem is now, I would love to not play Aspie because for 2 reasons. Number one, I don't think Aspie should be playing anyway. And number 2, I think Aspie is only acceptable when he doesn't play too much. So he was actually like one of our best, if not our best player against Arsenal, if you're honest. I watched you and Charlie do the play ratings for the game as well, and you said similar things. So on the basis of that, we know he will play against Newcastle. So I would love to play someone else, but who the fuck is there? So unless you're going to play Ruben at right back. But is that what you want to do against City?
I think Aspie will probably play this game. I don't think he plays 3 games in a row. I feel like we might do like a Ruben right wing back against Newcastle and give Aspie a rest. I don't think he'll be in this game though. I think he'll probably go more like a back 4 on what we've got right now.
That's possible. Absolutely, that's possible. All right. I don't really have much to disagree now. Would you throw in a Lewis Hall at left back instead of Cucurella?
No,
because he is actually one of those that travelled, I suppose. So
no, it's Man City. It's too big of an opponent for me. Not against Mahrez. I mean, Yeah,
While on the one hand, I agree with this. If Lewis Hall gets rinsed, no one cares. If Cucurella gets rinsed again, it just
that's
becomes
true.
an even bigger problem.
That is true, but no, I think Kukurea will play.
Yeah, no, I
We
agree.
got no depth at the back, bro. Everyone's just fucked in
Yeah.
injured.
But
So
I do think that Lewis Hall will probably come on for Cucurella after like an hour. I do expect that, depending on result, I suppose.
would be interesting. I'm just not getting my hopes up because
No, I'm not
it's,
getting
it's
it. Oh,
such
do you
a
mean for youth players or for result?
just for both, but youth players particularly
Okay.
because I think like I don't know what it is, but I can still see him bringing like Ziyech on instead of Hutchinson. I don't know what it is. I just don't believe like Man City is like such a big venue that I don't know if he's going to bring them on. I'd be surprised if he does.
Yeah, I mean, he said they will be involved. I'm not sure if he meant by that they will play or if that just meant they will be in the squad. I do hope that Hutchinson and Hall will come on. I will cross my fingers until I'm proven wrong, basically. That's what I'm saying. Let's get to midfield. Now, one other thing that I put on the thumbnail, listen, by the way, subscribe and smash the like button. I haven't told you that yet. Please do. What I put in the thumbnail is this Dennis Zakaria's actual chance to truly impress Potter? Because Zagreb is one thing, Zagreb at the bridge, but if he gets to start tomorrow, which I hope he does, but who knows? But if he does, is this the chance? Because if he plays well again, surely he then needs to become a serious option for Potter after the World Cup, right? And even for Newcastle, quite frankly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he'll play tomorrow, and I'll tell you why. Because I think before the Zagreb game, Potter specifically said, "I hope he plays well and can be in contention for like our midfield and can be in contention for that position." So I think he'll play. Think he starts. Looking forward to seeing him because I think he was very, very impressive. But obviously, a complete different venue and intensity. I think will be much higher. But I think we need that, man. Like again, midfield the weekend. Arsenal just embarrassing. 3-4 passes they were through us. It's like it was so bad. But so yeah, we need some physicality,
But to
just
be fair, what that
energy.
showed you is if you pass quickly, that's how you beat teams. And that's why under Tuchel now, under Lampard before, I always complained that we pass too slowly because passing quickly is how you get through presses, how you get through defenses. It's the only way. And
Very
Arsenal
true,
did
but I
that,
still
which is
think
why they
our
were so much better
midfield
than
was
us.
very true. But I still think our midfield was just like there was occasions where they were Arsenal passed the ball and Jorginho didn't quite reach interception. Maybe Zakaria would. He's bigger frame. Longer legs type thing. So yeah, maybe he's suited.
Who plays next to Zakaria, bro? Because
This is really hard. This is really hard, and I think this is maybe even why he'll go with a 4-3-3 because I really feel like Gallagher's going to start, but not in the pivot. So maybe we need to change to 4-3-3.
But do you think Zakaria will play as a single six, considering he played as an 8 last time?
That's the problem. Maybe it'll be Zakaria.
That's why I was like, if
Yeah, I
maybe we
don't know
play
actually. Yeah,
Zakaria and Ruben or Zakaria and Kova, and then maybe Mount gets rested. I don't know. I think I would rest Mount, or just drop him, whichever way phrase you want to use.
See, Zakaria, like for me, Ruben, yeah, maybe, but he played so
I'm
bad.
not saying to pick it to win the game, but to pick it because who else can we pick?
Yeah, it's just for me whether I want Kovacic to play on the weekend, so.
Exactly. So that's why maybe just Ruben next to Zakaria. I mean, it's physique in midfield for it's something.
I mean, it's ultimate physique.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But Ruben, after the way he played on the weekend, arguably doesn't deserve to play now. But again, what other options do we flip and have?
Yeah, because Kovacic played like 15 minutes, maybe he does start this game, and by the way, Potter said in the press conference, he's like not 100%, but he's like almost there. So why is he playing 15 minutes? Surely you can do 30, 45 if that's the case.
Who?
Kovacic.
Oh.
He said he's like.
But who was talking about 15 minutes? Against.
But like he brought him on for 15 minutes, and I was thinking the only reason you do that is because it was pre-planned. But he was like, oh, the injury doesn't actually affect him too much. So what the fuck's he coming on for 15 minutes then? I don't understand.
But maybe only the knee injury isn't affecting him so much because he had that calf tightness, didn't he? So maybe that was the reason for that, and not actually the knee. Who knows? I mean, I'll happily put Kova on the screen now if you want to pick Kova, but
I'll pick Kova, but I think it could easily be Ruben or Gallagher or someone else. I don't know.
That would be interesting. I think before he plays Gallagher in a pivot, because I don't see Potter doing that. I think it's more likely that he plays an in-doubt Jorginho, if I'm honest. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe he plays Humphreys at centre back and Chalobah at DM. I don't know.
That would be something.
That would be something. It would be something. Now, my pick for this, like I just said, I would pick Gallagher here. I would let them to play here, and then depending on how the game goes, you can also move it not even just permanently, but Gallagher will take up a bit more of a right side. Zakaria will then use this area like he did in that game against Zagreb because he was a left 8, and then Kovacic just for that time being does a single 6 or Ruben, whichever one of the two it is. I think that as a combination, it could of course be Mount. And if I'm honest, if you ask me a predicted 11, I wouldn't be surprised if Mount starts again, considering Potter sits there and says, well, Mount likes to play, so that's why I pick him. Sorry. I mean, I'm sure they all like to play, except Ziyech. He doesn't look like he's bothered one bit. But yeah, would you be okay with Gallagher there?
My heart tells me yes, but my mind tells me no, just because I think in those attacking, I don't know whether the thing is though with Mount as well. I don't know whether in that central position they'll make the right passes and decisions in vital moments. So I really want Pulisic to play there, but then that means I have to go Sterling on the wings with someone else. So
you probably have to go Sterling on the wing anyway, unless you're starting Ziyech.
You know what? I'll put Pulisic in the 10 because I've quite liked him there. It's a rogue shout, but I quite liked him there whenever he's played there for us. He did it a little bit last season. Go for something different.
Are you sure against City? Because I feel like whoever the 10 is will not be a pure 10, will be also part of a midfield 3, even if it is this.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's got to be Mount, actually, even though he's been playing.
Gallagher. But you said Gallagher needs to play 10 minutes ago, I swear.
Yeah, not in this position, though. If we're doing this, I don't think so.
Okay.
I still don't know, quite know if I.
We can play information as well.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just that 10 position. Mount's not great, but he's
right. I'm just making Kovacic a single 6 now.
See, now I would more go with Gallagher because it's more it's still attacking, but it's not right behind the striker, especially because you remember in the box he's had 2 chances and he's missed both of them. Brighton and what was the other one where he might have even been offside? He's hitting them straight at the goalie. If you're behind the striker, you need to be fucking finishing your chances.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Not to say that Mount's amazing, but I trust. If Mount's in that position, I think he, more likely to score, in my opinion.
Yeah, but it's just viewing the game differently. In defense, we don't have the option, but everywhere else, I just dropped a lot of them. Drop, rest, whatever phrasing you want to use. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, give fucking Gallagher a chance. He's no worse than Mount.
Bro, I'd probably be more excited if I saw Gallagher, Hutchinson, Pulisic, and Broja, but it's not going to happen, is it? Let's be real.
No, but we can hope. We can hope. So would you then pick Pulisic at left wing?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think so.
I would as well. I would. I mean, he needs to start. Whether it's on the left or on the right, I don't care as much. I think it's better on the left.
He's got to start. If he doesn't start tomorrow, he should leave, honestly. I feel sorry for the guy.
Yeah, no, I agree. Absolutely. But what about this one then? Can we just both agree that Broja should start?
Yeah. By the way, I thought he was not great when he came on at the weekend, but especially with his close control and stuff, he lost the ball way too easily. But I would rather see him try and just develop his raw talent and actually give him a start and give him some belief than keep playing Aubameyang, in my opinion.
Yeah, honestly.
Especially because
what I would do in this game, what I would do in this game, every time we win the ball, Broja immediately starts a run, and whoever gets the ball punts it long.
Yeah, literally. We don't do enough of that though.
Let Broja run, because Raheem Sterling of all people was asked who's the fastest player in Chelsea when he said Armando Broja, and he's not even close. The fact that Raheem Sterling says that, who while at City always said, yeah, I'm faster than Walker, while Walker said I'm faster than Sterling. The fact that he says it's not even a close with Broja tells me, okay, Broja is then, that means Broja must be a good bit faster than Walker as well, which is crazy fast. So just punt it long and hope that Broja does something. A little bit like when Fabregas punted it long to Diego Costa when we won 3-1 at City under Kante. That goal, just punt it.
That was a great goal.
Yeah, what a goal, what a touch. So, we always say Bruyne is like Diego Costa, so let's let him do that. But now I really don't know, bro, who should play here, because after that Instagram post, I really like, maybe it's petty, but Ziyech can kind of get in the bin, man, if I'm honest. So I don't really care what the occasion is. I don't want the guy to start anymore. Like, he's just best mates with Lukaku. I hope we sell him to Inter. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's more concerned about Lukaku than he is about Chelsea Football Club, and that triggers me. If purely my team, Hutchinson is a winger, right?
Yeah, right wing. Yeah,
I would just start Hutchinson. I know he won't, but in my team, I would just start Hutchinson.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, yeah.
Because I don't think Sterling should be starting games. Like I just explained, I don't want Ziyech starting games. I haven't seen the chat yet if anyone's rinsed me yet for saying Ziyech shouldn't play. What's the Ziyech thing? Fantasy BJ. So maybe you haven't seen. So what he did is he posted the day before the Arsenal game, so on Saturday, he posted in his story that outrageous free kick goal he scored for Ajax against Chelsea. When he hit the inside of the post, it hits Kepa's face and it goes in. That's the post he decided to post the day before we played the London derby against Arsenal. And I mean, I'm not sure if Ajax randomly posted it and therefore he reposted it, if I'm honest. I don't know. But it's just, in my opinion, that ain't on, man. Like, sorry, no, you can't be doing that. Like, excuse yourself. Imagine Aubameyang post a picture of him scoring against Chelsea. Like, the world would lose their shit. But because Ziyech, he has some people that love him, but everyone else kind of doesn't care about him anymore. That's why no one cares about this. But if this was Aubameyang or Sterling posting videos of the goals they scored against us, my God, we would lose our shit, and rightly so. So therefore, not him. I don't want Sterling to play. The only thing that could happen is that Breuer plays wide and Havertz plays in the middle.
Oh God, no, Jesus.
No, I agree.
Bro.
I don't want it either. I'm saying I wouldn't be shocked if it happened.
Yeah, fuck it. Havertz needs to stay away from this team, bro. Please. Oh my God. No words, no comment.
There you go. Now, yeah, like I said, let's just put Hutchinson on the screen. It won't be Hutchinson. We both know that. But hey, we just put it on our team. We manifest it. Try to manifest him starting because, it's not deep. He reposted. Now, I see that as well, that kind of logic. It's not deep. He reposted. Fair enough. But at the same time, I'm like, is it necessary? Like, you're already never in the team. We all know that you're unhappy here. Like, the things combined. Like, if he was playing regularly, playing well, there was no reports of him wanting to leave and him being about to leave. If those things weren't the case, then yeah, you're right. Not too deep. But because of everything else, I think it is not ideal, like not great, if that makes sense. I also, by the way, I wouldn't be surprised if Mount starts here. Maybe Gallagher starts in the wing position because I don't think Potter starts Ziyech, if I'm honest. But yeah, why don't we just go with this? Yeah, let's just do it. Pies. One last thing that we need to do, because that's what we always do, a score prediction. Do we make the fourth round of the Carabao Cup then? What do you think?
Gonna say no because City hardly ever lose, but I don't know. Is it like this one's hard because I don't know what team City are going to play. Like if they play De Bruyne and like Mahrez and I don't know Bernardo Silva and Foden, we could get absolutely slaughtered. But if they play Gundogan's great, but Gundogan, like I don't know, some different players, I think it might be closer. I'm gonna go. By the way, does this game go extra time? Because I don't actually know.
I think Carabao Cup is straight depends.
Right. I mean, God, that could actually happen, to be fair.
Hey, but if that happens, that means we didn't play so badly because we got ourselves at least into pens. Means
what? I'm going to
go. Something.
I'm going to go 1-1 on that basis. It goes to pens, and then it's 50-50. I don't know who will win.
We've got Mendy in goal. We're losing penalties, bro.
Oh, that is very true, actually. Yeah.
So if we go to penalties, we might as well just score an own goal before getting there. Just the last minute, just save yourselves the hassle. Just go up. Yeah. Now I've always been positive the last 2 weeks. I always say like 2-1, 1-0. But it's City. My only hope is that City rotate more than we expect, and that City take it too lightly, and that's why we win. So I'm going to remain positive. I hope. I'm going to remain positive, and I'm going to say I'm going to say 2-1 again. Now,
You'll be right sometime.
Yeah, it will be at some point. Because honestly, if you didn't say the 1-1 at pens, I might have said that, but I don't want to copy it. So I'm going to say 2-1. But yeah.
I think the Etihad is always quite like, it's always quite an open sort of, I don't know, I always feel like it's very open. So I think there's always chances to attack. So it may even be like a 2-2 or, I don't know, anything could happen. I just don't. I'm going with 1-1 because I feel like we might just cancel each other out, especially if both teams rotate quite a bit. It might just be quite a, I don't know, shitty Wednesday game sort of thing.
Yeah. Could be. And Far said, yeah, he did, to be fair. But why? Because he's the only guy he knows proper. Because from the national team, so he probably has had hundreds of penalties in training against Mane. He knows him. So it saves against him. Do you know what I mean? But against the other one, just whoever was the goalkeeping coach. Well, it was just Christoph Lollichon, wasn't it? But when we did the Munich thing, we should just do that for every penalty shootout. Just to watch 3 years back of penalties. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have nothing better to do, do you, Mendy, on the trip to Manchester? Just watch videos of their penalties and remember them. But yeah, like, honestly, I know you said if the draw is good, blah blah blah. I'm not bothered one bit if we lose tomorrow. Depending on, like, for the sake of the League Cup, because I'm like, okay, it gives us a bit more rest in later on in the season when we have injuries. It gives us extra midweek off to like train and to help Potter maybe get his stuff working. So, like, I wouldn't be upset if we lose, if I'm honest. I just hope it's not hard, and I hope if we lose that at least we played a few, like, imagine we play now basically the same team playing against Arsenal, like Aubameyang, Havertz, Sterling, Mount, all of them. If that happens, then we lose. I'm like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? But if we lose and like a lot of the rotational players play, I'm like, okay. Do you know what I mean? I would live. But the Newcastle one is different. I really want us to get a result against Newcastle because I think, like you touched on it a bit much earlier, Pice, if the results before the World Cup now, that can make such a big difference for our mood going into it and not having Chelsea on for like a month. That would make such a big difference if we could get a win at Newcastle, because no one at this point, no one's expecting us to beat Newcastle, are they? So if we could, that could change everything. And I think the City one doesn't really matter. Say we win tomorrow, but then we lose to Newcastle. The City game might as well have never happened. So what matters is Saturday, not tomorrow. So that's even another reason why we need to rotate, because, well, we play again Saturday and this is Wednesday. Do we actually go back to London or do we like stay up north and then go from Manchester to Newcastle directly? I wonder.
I'd probably imagine we'd go back, probably, I think.
Yeah, they do fly, don't they? So at that point, it's like, what, an hour? But yeah, there we go.
Not much point, though, to be fair.
Sorry?
Like, by the time you get back, probably like, they won't do anything until Thursday morning. Then Friday, they'll probably fly out anyway. So what's the point? Like, might as well just stay
exactly. That's why I might as well go to Newcastle, train there, chill by the sea if there's nice weather. But it's Newcastle, so there's never nice weather, is there? I've never been, so I shouldn't judge. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's about time around this one up. Hopefully, things just put us into a more positive mood tomorrow. Hopefully, we don't lose 6-0, 4-0, or anything like that. That'd be quite nice. But yeah, please, as always, check out Pice's website. Linked down in the description. ChelseaFC365.com. Check out his Twitter as well and Bertram's Twitter. If you fancy it, big shout out Bertram for doing the quiz and coming along for the preview. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I have told you once, but not enough. So please do subscribe if you haven't already. Smash that like button for me. It really helps me out. Spread these videos out to more people. So I'd massively appreciate it. It just takes you one click of a button. Doesn't cost you any money, barely cost you any time, so might as well do that. And hit the notification bell button as well while you're at it, and make sure you are notified for all. Select all so you don't just get random notifications, because you don't want to miss any future streams there. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, upwards and onwards, and I'll see you next time.